What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, with another edition of Where, Pick, and Dare, where I pick games for the various games that are occurring tomorrow. Whether it's football, baseball, basketball, basically whatever games I want to pick, I will pick them. With all that being said, on with the video. NBA. New York Knicks versus Philadelphia 76ers, Game 4. This is part of the second round of the NBA playoffs. So the Knicks are they lead the series 3-0. So if they win, they win the series, and if the Sixers win, the Sixers live on to at least Game 5. So the Knicks they have a 65.5% chance to win. The Sixers have a 34.5% chance to win. This game is at Philadelphia. For injuries for the Knicks, Anunoby is a game time decision. For stats, the Knicks have a more points per game, higher field goal percentage, more rebounds per game, assists per game. Sixers have more blocks per game and steals per game. These stats are pretty close. So I think home field advantage will be a big thing here. So I think the 76ers will beat the Knicks to live on another game. San Antonio Spurs versus Minnesota Timberwolves. Game 4. This is part of second round of the NBA playoffs. The Spurs lead the series at 2-1, and they have a 63.1% chance to win. The Wolves have a 36.9% chance to win. This game is at Minnesota. For injuries. For the Spurs, Jones Garcia is out, and for the Wolves, DiVincenzo is out. For stats, Spurs have more points per game. Field goal percentage is even. Spurs have more rebounds per game, assists per game. Wolves have more blocks per game and steals per game. These stats are pretty close, so I think home field advantage is going to be a big thing here. So I think the Timberwolves will beat the Spurs tomorrow to tie the series at 2-2. College baseball. West Virginia Mountaineers versus Kansas Jayhawks. This is game 3 of the series. West Virginia won both games 1 and 2, so they clinched the series. So if they win tomorrow, they sweep Kansas. But if Kansas wins, they salvage a win. And yeah, so West Virginia's 15 nation, 34-12 record. Kansas is 7 nation, 37-14 record. This is at Kansas. So yeah, so I mean Kansas is going to definitely drop in the rankings after this, and West Virginia might rise in the rankings. And yeah, so I don't think Kansas is going to go out of this series swept. Like I don't think it's going to be a sweep. So I think they'll salvage a win tomorrow and beat West Virginia tomorrow. Oklahoma Sooners versus Arkansas Razorbacks. This is game 3 of the series. Arkansas won both games 1 and 2, so they clinched the series. So if they beat Oklahoma tomorrow, they sweep them. But if Oklahoma wins, they'll salvage something out of this. Oklahoma's 24 nation, 30-18 record. Arkansas is 17 nation, 34-17 record. This is at Arkansas. Um, yeah, Arkansas generally does pretty well at home, so a sweep is very possible. But I don't think Oklahoma is going to get swept. Like, generally, when you get this close in rankings, generally you don't see a sweep like that. So, and I wouldn't bet on that happening. So, I think Oklahoma will beat Arkansas tomorrow. Oregon Ducks versus UCLA Bruins. This is game 3 of the series. So UCLA won game 1, and game 2 is currently going on right now. It is at the time of recording this, bottom second, no outs. Game is tied 4-4. So if if UCLA wins, they win the series. If Oregon wins, they win they tie the series. So yeah, and then in that circumstance, whoever wins tomorrow would have to like what would whoever wins that would win the series. So yeah, so we'll see how game 2 goes, but so yeah, so Oregon's 13 nation, 35-13 record. UCLA's 1 nation, 45-4 record. This game is at UCLA. So yeah, this could be a really good game. Especially based on how Game Two is going right now. It could be a it could be a pretty good game. So I think you know well I will say yeah, looking at how the games have gone, how high powered UCLA is, especially with how they beat Oregon yesterday, and with what's going on right now. I think UCLA, with that home field advantage, will beat Oregon tomorrow. MLB. New York Yankees versus Milwaukee Brewers. The Yankees have a 42.2% chance to win. The Brewers have a 57.8% chance to win. This game is at Milwaukee for starting pitchers. For the Yankees, Carlos Rodon has a career ERA of 3.73 with a 1.22. And for the Brewers, Logan Henderson has a career ERA of 2.43 with a 0.96. So that's a good pitching for you know both teams. And with with Rodon having years more experience, you know that could hint maybe an advantage, but with the big ERA difference for Henderson, I'd say it could be like a pitching advantage for the you know for the Brewers. So for injuries, for the Yankees, Carlos Rodon is on 15-day IL. Garrett Cole's also on 15-day IL. Giancarlo Stanton's on 10-day IL. Ryan Weathers is day to day. Ben Hess is on 7-day IL for the Brewers. Garrett Mitchell's day to day. JV Bukaskas is on 7-day IL. Brant Woodruff's on 15-day IL. Christian Yelich is on 10-day IL. And Rob Zastrisny is on 60-day IL for stats. The Brewers have a higher batting average. Yankees have more runs, hits, home runs. Uh, Brewers have a higher on base percentage. Yankees have a higher slugging percentage. Brewers have a higher ERA and more walks plus hits per innings pitched. Have more walks, strikeouts, and a higher opponent batting average. So yeah, so overall, so pitching seems to be decently close between the two teams. Batting, I mean the Yankees having 22 more hits, um, 14 more hits, 22 more runs, and 37 more home runs. That's a big batting advantage for the Yankees. And with Henderson's relatively inexperienced, that could affect things. But and with how good the starting pitching is for both teams, that could affect. But home field advantage will really help here. So with that, I think home field advantage will then be the deciding factor here. So I think the Brewers will beat the Yankees tomorrow. Atlanta Braves versus Los Angeles Dodgers. The Braves have a 34.5% chance to win. The Dodgers have a 65.5% chance to win. This game is at LA for starting pitchers. For the Braves, Bryce Elder has a career ERA of 4.32, WHIP of 1.32, and for the Dodgers, um, Justin Robleski has a career ERA of 3.88, WHIP of 1.21. So that's a good pitching for Robleski, not really good pitching for Elder. So it's a definite starting pitching advantage for the Dodgers. So for injuries, for the Braves, Blake Burkhalter is on 7-day IL. Jorge Mateos day to day. Dylan Dodd's on 15-day IL. And Han Sung Kim and Ronald Acuna Jr. on 10-day IL. For the Dodgers, Blake Snell, Ben Casparius, and Tyler Glasnow are on 15-day IL. Mookie Betts is on 10-day IL. And Gavin Stone's on 60-day IL. For stats, the Dodgers have a higher ERA. Braves have more runs, hits, home runs. Dodgers have a higher on base percentage. Braves have a higher slugging percentage, higher ERA, more walks plus hits, brains pitched, have more walks, strikeouts, and a higher opponent batting average. So yeah, so Braves they've done 25 more walks than the Dodgers. Have 15 more hits. Well, let's see, 13 more hits, 15 more runs. So it's gonna be a yeah. I mean, it's not a gigantic difference. Like some of it seems like cancel out. So with the starting pitching thing is gonna be a big deal here, and with the home field advantage. So with the starting pitching advantage and the home field advantage, I think the Dodgers will beat the Braves tomorrow. St. Louis Cardinals versus San Diego Padres. The Cards have a 55% chance to win. The Padres have a 45% chance to win. This game is at San Diego. For starting pitchers for the Cards, um, Kyle Leahy has a career ERA of 3.9, WHIP of 1.29. And for the Padres, Walker Buehler has a career ERA of 3.59, WHIP of 1.17. So yeah, that's good pitching for both teams. Not really seeing a difference here. So for injuries, for the Cards, Matt Pushard's on 15-day IL. Ramon Urias is on 10-day IL. And Lars Nootbaar, Ikeson Henderson, and Victor Santos are on 60-day IL. For the Padres, Jake Cronenworth and Blake Hunt are on 7-day IL. German Marquez are on 15-day IL, and Luis Campusano are on 10-day IL, and Joe Musgrove are on 60-day IL. For stats, the Cards have a higher batting average, have more runs, hits, home runs, higher on base percentage, slugging percentage, ERA, more walks plus hits per innings pitched, more walks. Padres have more strikeouts, and Cards have a higher opponent batting average. So yeah, so I mean, ones are a big difference. You have Cards having the 19 more runs, 22 more hits, 15 more strikeouts, more walks, and then the Padres having they have a 63 more strikeouts. So definite pitching advantage for the Padres overall, and it seems like a decent hitting advantage for the Padres. So definitely make things interesting. So with that, with the starting pitching being close between them, and both being good, so I think then home field advantage will be the big thing here. So I think the Padres will beat the Cardinals tomorrow. And that's it for picks. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to my picks. Do you agree with them? Do you not? If you have different picks, you can put them in the comments. But other than that, please like, subscribe, and all that. Thank you for listening, and look forward to the next video.